These pilots could not shoot. And
They're sitting ducks.
Really. Yeah, so literally what had to happen, somebody had to wake Ronald Reagan up and get permission. Because if we shoot that plane down, we're now at war, and you need permission from the president to anything. So the whole time, this guy's screaming in, they're locked on, they're fucking locked. And you could tell he's freaking out.
Welcome to the American Grown Podcast, hosted by Austin Sullivan. The American Grown Podcast will focus on people from different walks of life and their journey to where they are now. Now, turn up your volume and settle in for a great episode.
This is the American Grown Podcast, recorded inside the Colortech Creative Solutions studios. We suggest listening to part 1 before listening to this episode. This episode features Tim Labbe, aka Ramblin RedBeerd Navy Vet, craft beer enthusiast, and world traveler, visiting over 365 breweries and meeting some pretty interesting people along the way. Being in the service, were there any mentors in your life that left an impact that you wanted to shout out? And then, boom, we can get into the traveling to all 50 states.
Definitely my mentor was my dad and my mom. I mean, I learned everything. And I mean, to this day, I'm still realizing stuff that I learned or that they did or put in me that I've used my whole life. I still sit back and go, what would my dad say? What would my mom's opinion of this be? So I think as far as mentors, there's another guy, and he's long passed away, but one of my football coaches, it was funny. So our practice field was different we had a practice field, and we had across town, we had our regular game day field. And the practice field was just a shithole. It was a dust bowl when it was dry, and it was a mud bowl.
Pit,
because it was down. It was probably 100 feet lower than the high school. And there was this big hill, grass hill, that you had to walk down to get to the field. Well, we would do stations, and we would, back then we did double sessions in August, right? So you practice session, eat lunch, and then go back for a second one. Well, there was this part of the hill. That was one of the stations. You'd run up and down the hill, and it sucked because the hill was at an angle where you're almost bear crawling, right?
Yeah.
And it sucked. And this coach was in charge of it, and his name was Tucker Toronto. And Tucker was an older guy, and he had to be on dialysis for his kidneys. And he would spend any time that he wasn't coaching us. Yeah. He was on a dialysis machine. Oh, wow. So literally he was giving his life for us. And he would stand at that top of the hill. And he was, picture your atypical football coach, like just still lifted weights. I think he was in his 70s, like still lifted weights.
I can picture him. Okay.
With the athletic shorts and the striped socks up to his knees, right? The whistle and the pullover. Yes. And he'd yell, "Get up that fucking hill!" And to this day, when things are tough, I picture Tucker Toronto, get up the fucking hill, because all he was doing was like taking your mind out of it. Just do it. And so I pull that on that all the time, still to this day. And I just recently went back, and I was showing somebody around my hometown, and we went, and we had paid when he died. We bought a memorial, like a stone,
and you put it up top.
And put it right on top of the hill.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it's lived to this day. Wow. So I'm standing there at this memorial, and this guy comes up. They were doing some lacrosse stuff, and he comes up and he starts talking to me, and it ends up he was the current head lacrosse coach. And I got talking to him, and I said I had to come pay my respects to Tucker. He says, "Oh yeah, we still teach the kids about Tucker and his hill and all that."
That is cool.
And we got talking, and he says, "Hold on for a minute." And he went into the school, like the equipment room, and he comes back, and he's got an old helmet from my playing days, and he gives it to me. He goes, "Thanks for coming back, and like this is I'm going to tell kids about this, that you came back to honor this guy, because you got to respect the people that that were in authority or that were helping you then." And it was a really cool moment. Like
it's like a full circle moment, you know, and it's like you paying your respects, and the body will do what the mind wills it. You know what I mean? And just get up that fucking hill.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So he was a big. I was lucky to grow up with a lot of great coaches, baseball coaches. I still remember my. And it's funny, they all smoke cigars.
Really?
Yeah,
During
every
practice?
single one of them.
Just
During
like
everything. So how our offense ran for
Yeah.
football was our head coach called all the plays, and he would run them in with us wide receivers.
Okay, yeah.
So I would play either every 2 or every 3 plays because I'd be standing on the sideline, and then he'd grab my face mask with a cigar in his mouth.
No shit.
Put his face almost in my eye right, sprint right, 100, whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'd go out with a face full of cigars.
I was going to say ash in your face. Yeah, yeah.
And it's funny. And I'm like, well, times have changed. Like nobody.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Whenever I smoke a cigar now, I'm like, I think of my first baseball coach. He smoked. He never had I never saw him without a cigar in his mouth.
That's great.
Like when he passed away, I went to his wake. And I'm like, oh, that's what he looks like without a cigar.
Jesus Christ. Because he always had one.
I always had one. I didn't know him any differently.
That's funny. Oh, man. Wow. So, yeah, any other mentors, or if you're ready, we'll get into, your experience traveling to all 50
I think my mentors, are I don't have any I have a lot of influences. I have a lot of people that I, try to, when things get down, I try to either talk to or I listen to or I go to or whatever. But no, I'm kind of full circle where I think I want to be a mentor to other people. And that's what I'm trying. Like I do a lot with the Irreverent Warriors. There's a lot of, I call them kids because they're all post 9/11 veterans. And I try to do a lot. Like I've helped a lot of veterans either financially or just by talking to them, listening to them or whatever. So I'm not trying to brag, but I'm saying like I've gotten to that age where now I'm trying to be a mentor.
You're at that stage in life, yeah.
Yeah. I've helped out some along the trip, and I'll get into it later. I did help a lot of veterans, and I'm very proud of that. Like I'm very. The trip was one thing. Like I can sit back and go, "Oh, I did all these cool things," but like the things that I'm gonna really be proud of, I think later, now too, but like going forward, are like helping veterans that were in. Some ready to kill themselves, but
when did you decide, okay, I want to travel to all 50 states, I want to drink, craft beer at 365 locations? I'm guessing one a day was your goal?
Well, it was the goal. So the plan.
Yeah.
And the plan was hatched during COVID. So in Boston, we were locked down pretty tight. I lived alone, and I could still work because, I was in sales, so I could still call people. I could still message people. So I was still working, but then I became I'm a big political guy, and this was during the election, and I was getting into it, and now I had time. I would watch all the news. I would get really into it, and I started getting more and more and more pissed off at how the country was being portrayed through the media. And I'm smart enough to know that all of these people that were being pitted against each other were actually a very small group of people. They weren't really representative. Still to this day, they're not really representative of this entire country. So I said, I know what's out there. Like I know that this country is different than what we're being shown as. And so the original thought was, I got to get out there somehow and show that. Even if it's to 5 people. Even if it's the one person, I gotta be the voice that goes out there and tells positive stories. I'll be the smallest fish in the biggest ocean, but at least I'll feel good that I'm doing that. Like I'm finding those stories. And at first, it was gonna be a weekend thing.
Oh, geez, just a weekend thing.
Yeah,
okay.
I was gonna fly. So a lot of the whole thing with the 50 states was we had those 4 guys that lived in the house that was turned into an apartment with me, and 2 of them, and then our friends and stuff. We had a little secret society going on behind the house because we didn't know, like, are we going to get arrested for gathering? Like,
oh yeah, okay,
all our
right.
bars are closed.
Prime COVID time.
Oh, this is
So everything's locked down. You can't go anywhere. You can't. It's a little ridiculous, but okay. Yeah.
We started this
Yep.
every day at 5 o'clock. We'd go out there with beers and we'd light a fire, like a fire in an old grill. We'd cook out. And it came up like how many states people have been to. And I thought I'd been to a lot because I traveled the whole country selling the original BlackBerry solution.
No way.
And the dumbest, I'll just touch on this, the dumbest mistake of my life. I was offered BlackBerry, or it's called Research in Motion was the company.
Okay.
Stock at 5 cents a share.
Jeez.
And it split twice, went up to $160 each.
Yeah, you didn't get it.
I would have been $1 billion. Yeah, it was fun. I would have had to put $5,000 in for a solution that at that time people were telling me nobody wants to be that connected.
Yeah,
this isn't going.
And now look at us. Jeez.
So anyway, well then I got called out. They're saying, listen, when you fly into a state, get in a cab, go visit a company, and then fly home, that doesn't count. Like, oh shit.
Right. Yeah.
I haven't been to, as many as I thought.
Right.
So then I said, okay, I got to change that. And that coupled with the whole thing. So it was going to be a weekend thing. I was going to look, I said, when bands start being able to play again, I'll go see my favorite bands and I'll spend the whole weekend and then I'll go drive around and whatever. So that was the origin of it. And then one thing led to another. And all of a sudden I bought a camper. I said, I'm just doing it.
Yeah.
I'm just doing it.
And it started in your backyard around a campfire with a bunch of buddies. That's where this kind of idea came from. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I said, okay, I'll do this. I'll tell people about it and they'll tell me how dumb I am and I won't do it.
Yeah.
Or I'll tell people about it. They'll tell me I'm dumb and I'll do it just to prove.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
One of the, like whenever I have a big goal,
I
post it all over my social media. So then I have to do it or be embarrassed that I didn't do it.
Yeah.
Right? So, I started getting not one person gave me shit. They're like, oh my God, that's awesome.
Yeah, they're encouraging,
Even
right?
my sister, who's like very, very like conservative in that aspect,
was like,
it. Yeah, I wish I could do it. Like, that's what you get not having any kids and all that.
Right. No strings.
Yeah. So then I started planning it, and this was a big part of it. I was planning it out, and I started getting nervous. I was like, okay, this is a big, big to do. And I would sit at my coffee table in my living room, and I had all these books and maps and all this. And I had Criminal Minds playing. It was like a marathon.
Okay.
And I really wasn't paying attention, but it was background noise. And Criminal Minds always starts with a quote. One of the cast members says a quote, and it's like a theme to the show. And the quote was, I'd rather die of a germ than a broken soul.
Wow. And
it was very fitting because of COVID, right?
Yeah.
Right? I'd rather die of COVID than be fucking locked up
exactly.
and all this shit, right? So I'm like, oh my God, what quote, where's that from? And I looked it up, and it was from John Steinbeck. And one of the last books he wrote was called Travels with Charlie, In Search of America.
Jeez, bums. Wow, this get wild.
And I'm like, oh, fuck.
Right, it's a sign.
It's not a sign. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, seriously.
So Travels with Charlie is a non-fictional book. I don't know John Steinbeck that well, but it might be his only non-fiction book. He was feeling guilty. When he made it big, he bought a condo or an apartment or whatever in New York and one in Paris. And he spent his time split between those two. And he started feeling guilty that I made all this money writing about American people, and I'm spending more time in France and New York, which it was funny, he didn't call America.
Yeah.
And so he called up, when you're John Steinbeck, you can call GMC up and say, hey, can you make me a pickup truck with a camper on the back? And they did. They made him a custom camper, one unit. And he says, okay. And Charlie was his wife's dog. It was a poodle. He threw Charlie in the truck and just went out and traveled the country. And I read the book in 3 days. And the crazy part was that was 1960. Everything that he did to plan, pack, all that, I was right in the doing it exactly the way he did it. And I'm not saying like, oh, I'm as good as John Steinbeck. I'm saying that when you plan a trip to go around the country, you're going to do the same things, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm like, oh my God. And I got so friggin' inspired by that.
Pumped. You got pumped up.
Yeah. And then I said, all right, I'm going to make this bigger because that's what I do. I got to make things.
Right.
So
you go all in.
I said, well, I'm going to breweries, tapping into America.
I love
came
it.
up with that, the slogan. Then I conceived the logo, but then had a company draw it out, do that. And then I got in touch with Irreverent Warriors and asked their permission to put the name on the shirts. And I think I got, I don't know, a couple hundred of them made, all different sizes. I got sweatshirts made, these hats with a separate logo. And I said, I'm going to raise a ton of money for Irreverent Warriors. I'm going to go to all 50 states. I'm going to go to, and then it was a gimmick, 365 breweries in 365 days.
Yeah, okay.
And I said, okay, most breweries aren't open Monday and Tuesday, so those will be my logistical days. And then Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, I'll go to one brewery each day. Saturday and Sunday, I'll go to two. And I'll spend 7 days in each state, except California and Texas. I'll spend 14.
They're huge.
There's
right.
364 days. And then with 14 breweries in California and Texas.
Yeah.
That's 364 breweries. And I said, I'll find
one more somewhere. Yeah.
And in New England, that worked perfect. Because most New England states you can get in and out of in a couple hours.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So
driving and everything.
Yeah. So 7 days in a state, in the New England state, was plenty. Well, then I got out to the bigger states, and I'm like, I don't have time to do shit. Because, like, I had all these, not vacation, but like touristy places I wanted to go.
Stops along the way.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm like, I won't be able to do any of these. And then I started thinking, like, a lot of these states I'm never going to go back to, probably never going to go back to. Washington State,
So
Alaska.
why rush it? Yeah, you don't want to rush this.
No,
yeah.
So that's why it took me 2 years and 4 months. But I stuck with the 365 breweries and I probably went to more like 400.
Wow.
But I only posted and talked about the ones that I felt like there were some. There's a certain brewery type that I like, and then there's some I don't.
Okay.
And there was a few I walked in and walked right out. I mean, this just isn't my.
It wasn't feeling
vibe.
it. Yeah, you weren't feeling it.
I'm a brewery guy as opposed to a beer guy, meaning. So one of the biggest questions I get is, "What was your favorite beer? What was the best beer?" I'm like, I really can't tell you.
Okay.
I don't like.
I didn't have that question.
I'm not that big of a connoisseur of beer.
Yeah.
What I am is I love the type of person that goes to breweries. I love the atmosphere. I love the vibe. I love the community.
Yes.
I love that it's adults sitting around drinking, but nobody's doing fireball shots and trying to chug 20 Bud Lights and be idiots and all that. And I like the vibe, and I love talking to people. I've sit in breweries sometimes for hours just talking to different groups of people and probably drink one beer. But because it's the vibe.
It's that conversation. It's like that community, right?
Yes, exactly.
Community feel. Yeah.
So, so I ended up probably going to more like 400 breweries, but 365, was the goal.
Do you remember the name of the first one?
Yeah. Flight Deck Brewing in Brunswick, Maine.
Okay.
So the Naval Air Station that I was stationed at closed down years and years ago. And they repurposed it all and sold it, the land and different things. The airstrip stayed, and it's now a private airstrip. Okay. But the building that we used to shoot guns in, small arms, got turned into a brewery.
Oh, that's badass. That's so
cool.
I
said that has to be brewery number one.
Okay.
And the interesting part was when I kicked this all off, I was talking to a buddy of mine who had been stationed with me in Brunswick, and we're still good friends. And he continued to be an air traffic controller, and he actually works the tower at Logan Airport. So if you fly into Logan Airport, chances are he's talking to your airplane.
Yeah.
So, but he went on to be a pilot and bought his own plane. And he says, what if I fly you up to Brunswick and we land on the airstrip we used to control.
Yeah.
And walk over and go to the brewery. Fucking A.
Yeah, what a neat,
that's cool.
What a neat moment for real.
And the funny part was, so originally I was going to film everything and do a documentary.
Yeah, you
so
mentioned.
I had all these GoPros, and I filmed the whole trip up. I filmed everything. It was kind of, I had to do it like for this trip, Hollywood. Neither of us could drink because we're in a 2-seat plane.
Oh, shit.
Or a 2-person plane. Like,
yeah.
So if something happened to him, I had to take over, and I couldn't be. You can't drink, right?
Yeah.
So we went there and didn't drink. It was almost for show to get the video, and then I went. I got in my camper and drove back up there.
Okay.
But to fly in like as air traffic controllers into the strip that you used to control was cool as shit.
It was really cool. Yeah.
So that kicked it off. Was Flight Deck Brewing was number one.
All right, so that was number one. And since you mentioned it, you have pictures of the camper here. So that's what you use to travel.
Yeah. It's a little 21-foot camper.
Okay.
And the goal was to find a camper that was the smallest camper I could find because I had never towed a camper, but still had a bathroom and a shower.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I wanted to be self-contained.
Yep.
So the funny part, I looked at probably 5 or 6, and I found this one, and I bought it, and then I'm looking at it, and the guy goes, "You don't know how to hook this up, do you?" I'm like, "No." Because you're gonna drive it to all, to 48 states,
right?
And I scared the shit out of him pulling it out of his
no
backyard.
way, yeah. He's like,
And
really?
Great.
Yeah.
So one side of the camper I put brewery stickers.
Okay.
And then the other side I put like, cool places that I went stickers. And it was funny. So then, if you see here, there's a map of the United States with stickers.
Yeah.
And you put one, every time. And my thing was I had to be in the state for 2 days. I had to sleep overnight.
Okay.
And then I said, fuck those guys back at home.
It's official.
That better be good enough for
if
them.
that doesn't count, what then?
So
then
before I put the sticker on. And in the beginning, there's no stickers. And I had 1 or 2 of these little state stickers, and I felt like an idiot.
Yeah.
And then I was pulling into campgrounds and like hooking the electric up and all that.
Yeah.
I got it down pretty quick, but like I still felt like a novice. Well, 2 years later, I've got this thing covered in stickers. People are coming up to me like, "Oh my God, you're the greatest camper guy ever."
Yeah, like you're a professional.
You should have seen me 2 years ago.
Yeah.
The biggest idiot. And I say that not to brag about it, but I say that my big message now is, if you want to do something, just do it. Like, don't think, "Oh my God, I don't know how." Nowadays, there's no excuse. There's somebody on YouTube that will show you how to do it.
Yes.
You could probably go do surgery on somebody.
Yeah, probably.
Like if you needed to, like with YouTube.
If you had to, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So don't there's no excuses to not
just go for
do
it.
what you want. And most people say, "Well, money, you can make more money."
Yeah.
You always make more money.
If you want to do it, you figure it out.
Just do it. And,
Yeah.
and you'll figure it out. You'll look like an idiot when you first start.
Well, everybody does.
I looked like an idiot. I was a day, 2 years and 4 months, I was doing things that I'm like, you idiot.
Yeah, right.
But
then
anyway.
2 years later, you're like, people think you're a professional. Like, look at this guy. Look at this.
Oh, yeah.
And you were, because 2 years of doing it. So now, Pennsylvania stops. What do you remember what they were here?
A lot of them were kind of around the Gettysburg area.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
One of them was in Harrisburg, and still probably in the top, upper top of my favorite stops.
Yeah.
So it was called Tattered Flag Brewing.
Damn, I knew you were going to say that one.
And they're out of business.
They
now.
are. Yeah, it's a damn shame.
Yeah,
I like that.
They were owned by not a former. He was a current Navy SEAL.
I didn't know. Yeah.
And the Tattered Flag came from, he carried a flag, and I know there's a significance to the flag. Like it was his grandfather's, or I don't know that for sure. But it wasn't just a flag he bought at Walmart. Like it was a significant flag. He carried it in his gear through all of his missions. Wow. And now he's 20 years, I think, plus as a SEAL. So this thing got beat up, and it was hanging in the brewery. Yeah. And the day I went there for 2 days, because I would get in touch with the breweries I was going to go to and say, "Hey, I'm raising money, for this veterans organization." And they agreed. They said, "We'll brew a beer, and all the pros will give $1 per beer to your organization."
Oh, wow.
So most beer recipes, about 1,500 beers. So they donated $1,500 to the cause.
Yeah.
And they were just great. And they had 2 locations. They had one in Harrisburg and one at Gettysburg. The Gettysburg was the size of this podcast room.
Really? I've never been to the Gettysburg one.
It was like a 10-person to fit in there.
Yeah.
I think we fit 45 people in there.
Damn, wow.
Because all the Irreverent Warriors from 3 states.
Okay.
Maryland, maybe Delaware. Where's Fort Dix? Delaware? I don't know. Anyway.
That makes sense.
A ton of people
Maryland,
met
PA, yeah.
there. And I've got a great picture out front with all of us with the Irreverent Warriors flag. But, yeah, Harrisburg, and we went to the one in there in Gettysburg. Battlefield Brewing in Gettysburg.
Okay, I have to look them up, yeah.
That's really cool because it's in an old farmhouse that was used as a hospital during the Battle of Gettysburg.
That's haunted.
There's still
I'm just gonna throw it out
haunted,
there.
and there's still blood in the floorboards.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
The wood and stuff.
Yeah. Great brewery. Rally Point, which is another veteran-owned brewery. I don't remember. It was somewhere near Gettysburg. Okay. I know I probably drove about an hour from the Gettysburg area.
Yeah.
Then I went to Pittsburgh. I went to Southern Tier. And one of the ones I didn't count in the 365 is called Brew Dogs.
Okay.
Which is a chain of breweries out of Scotland. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Like if you ever want to start a business, read their book. So they started a brewery with no money of their own.
Yeah.
To this day, they've never borrowed a dime. Their whole thing was beer is a great commodity. So they set up, and now it's a much more intricate thing. But in the beginning, it was, you give me $1,000 cash, I'll give you back $2,000 retail in beer and merchandise and whatever. But it's $2,000 retail. It's $500 my cost.
Oh yeah.
So you're basically loaning me $1,000 to start my business. And instead of giving you $1,000 back plus interest, like they'd have to do with a bank, they're giving you $500 real money.
Yeah.
And you're getting double your money. And they have all these tiers now.
That's brilliant.
You can get in for $25 or $10,000 or, there's all these tiers. And they call it crowdfunding. And now there's tons of breweries around the country doing it.
They're copying that, yeah. Because it's successful, yeah.
Yeah, one of the two, there's 2 friends, and they wrote one of them wrote a book about it. And the whole thing is, come up with a mission statement and don't have the word money in it at all.
At all, yeah.
If you start a business to make money,
it's going to fail.
Just throw your money in the toilet and go away.
Yeah.
You've got to have a passion about something. You've got to be fighting for something, not money. Because you're never.
I believe that 100%. Yeah. Yep.
So anyway, I went to Brewdog in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Southern Tier was cool because I met a bunch of people from Irreverent Warriors for the 4th of July fireworks over Lions State. What's a Pittsburgh Steelers stadium?
It used to be Heinz Field.
Heinz Field.
I forget what they call it now, but yeah.
I think it was still for Heinz Field too.
Yeah, with the big ketchup bottle and everything. Yeah.
But that was cool to see over the river.
Oh, it's probably awesome. Yeah,
it was cool fireworks.
Pittsburgh's a cool place. I've only been there once, but yeah.
So those were the Pennsylvania.
Okay, and then Pennsylvania ones for the listeners. Go support them. And now, your last stop. What was that?
Young Veterans.
Young Veterans.
Young Veterans Brewing.
Where's that at?
In Virginia Beach, Virginia.
Okay.
So Virginia was I started the trip in Maine, and then came down the East Coast, and then kind of just did a U-turn or a turn up right at Virginia, and went up to the northern half of the country and went west.
Okay.
That way. So coming back, Virginia ended up being the last state. And Young Veterans, I said, that's perfect. Like it's a couple, I think it's 3 veterans that started it. And they knew each other in, I want to say Afghanistan, and then realized they lived near each other back home too.
Small world again, yeah.
And then they said, hey, and I think they were making beer in Afghanistan. And the story is that they were sitting on a hill, and they came up with their whole business plan and their whole everything sitting on a hill in Afghanistan, and launched it, and it was really cool. So when I went there, empty. I'm like, this isn't how I pictured my 365th.
The last stop, yeah.
I had, I'm a guy of grandeur, and I have to dial myself back a lot. And I pictured like a bunch of family and friends either flying in or driving down, and a big fanfare. And at that point in the trip, I was like, I don't want that.
Yeah.
But I wanted a full brew. Like,
right. Yeah. You wanted people to be there.
Like, and it was a Sunday. And I'm like, the bartender, I was like, do people come?
Where's everybody?
She goes, yeah, there'll be a bunch of regulars here soon. And it never filled up, but it was like 6 regulars. And they were amazing. And it couldn't have worked out better. I didn't, they bought all my beers, and we took some really cool pictures. A guy bought $300, I think, worth of gift cards to the brewery to give me. He goes, if you're doing a raffle or you're doing anything to raise money, just here. And I mailed them to the coordinator of the Virginia Beach Silkies hike.
Okay, yeah.
And they raffled them off.
That's awesome.
And,
yeah.
So it was really cool, and it was bittersweet. It was really, I was mentally done at this point.
2 years, right?
2 years and 4 months living in a camper. I was ready to stop.
Yeah.
But I wasn't ready to end the trip. Like, that trip breathed life into me. That trip made me a whole different person. That trip, like, changed my life. And so to have it end was like, shit.
Yeah, because this is just my take. It probably started out as going around for the craft beer.
Yeah.
But the trip probably at the end is, you realize, no, it's more about the experience, more about the people you met, right?
Yeah.
The connections you made.
I met so many people. I met celebrities. I could sit here and talk to you for 5 more hours about the cool shit that happened, and not to brag, but it was cool shit.
Well, so I got to ask you, like, who were some of the people you had met, or, some of the experiences you had that were like, you didn't expect?
So I made a little detour in Iowa. In Michigan, I was supposed to go to the Dakotas first and then Iowa. Well, they were playing that first Field of Dreams baseball game, and I said, I want to be in. I probably can't afford the tickets, a ticket, but I want to be in the area. So I went to Dyersville, and they have one brewery, and I became really good friends with the owner, and I went there. I stayed like 4 days.
Yeah,
because I wanted to be there for I'll watch the game in the brewery, and I got sucked into that this little town of like 2,000 people. Now that they're the world stage as far as the sports world go,
right?
All like MLB TV was there, ESPN was there. Like all these people were there to do this, and it became this huge deal. And the funny part is, most of the people I talked to had just forgot that there was the movie set.
Yeah,
right down the street,
right there.
Because it was like nothing to like. They grew up with it.
Makes sense, yeah.
Well, now they were like, so sitting in the brewery, with MLB TV on all the TVs, and watching these workers and even the patrons that were from there, looking at these TVs, go, oh my God, this is us. Like, this is our town, and this is so cool. So then, it was really funny. They made T-shirts, as if you brew it, they will come.
Oh, that's great. Yeah,
okay. T-shirts.
Yeah.
And people coming in and buying tons of them. I think I bought 6.
That's great.
And but they wanted to exploit everything. So they were open 9 a.m. till midnight every day.
Yeah. Take advantage, right?
And they served. So their food was pizzas. They had a brick oven pizza thing.
Nice. Yeah.
So they made breakfast pizzas.
Whoa, breakfast pizza, bacon or
it was bacon and eggs. They put eggs on the pizza. It was so good.
Yeah.
I didn't at first. I'm like,
a little leery, like yeah.
But anyway, so one of the days I said, I'll come in for breakfast. I'll fit this whole experience. And I'm walking in one day, and there's a guy pulling all this like camera equipment out of his trunk of his car, and he's dressed in a suit. It didn't take long to realize he's a news guy.
Right. Yeah.
And I said, you need any help? He says, oh, just get the door for me. And we get talking. It ends up he's there to interview Tom, the owner of the brewery. The brewery's Textile Brewing in Dyersville, and which has a whole cool history in itself. But about what it's like having all these people now in town and like being a business owner. And he was the morning news guy. So he goes, are you local? And I said, no. And I really quickly explained what I was doing. So he interviews Tom, and I'm sitting there eating my breakfast pizza, and he comes over and he says, hey, can I interview you?
Yeah.
I was like, why? He said, you got a cool story.
You got a story, right? Yeah.
And it'd be cool to interview somebody like from the outside looking
perspective.
in.
Yeah, for sure.
And so he interviewed me. I was on the news the next day.
That's awesome.
So then they only showed a little of Tom and then a lot of me.
Really?
And I was like, oh Tom's going to hate me.
Yeah, right.
So I go in the next
Stole
day.
the spotlight. Yeah.
And Tom goes, hey, you got a lot of cards. I go, yeah, you pissed? No, he goes, that's like the 40th one I've done this week. He said that.
Yeah.
So
he's
nothing.
Fed up with it.
Whatever.
He's like, yeah.
So he goes, I have a treat for you tonight. He goes, you going to be here tonight? He goes, a friend of mine is coming in, and I think you'd really get a kick out of meeting him. All right. So I get there that night, and I'm sitting there, and the place packs. It was packed just because there's so many people in town, and not many restaurants or not many things. So it was packed. And the locals were getting into this. They were loving this whole thing. So finally, Tom comes up to me. He says, do you recognize the guy coming in the door? I look, and as he got closer, I'm like, no shit. It was Dwyer Brown, who's the actor that plays John Kinsella. So Kevin Costner's dad.
Yes.
And they play catch at the end of the movie. He's the guy that played that character.
And he's coming in the door.
He's coming in the door, and he goes over to Tom, shakes his hand.
Yeah.
And he says, hey, this is the guy I was telling you about. I'm like, you were talking
to him about me
for one of my favorite movies. Shit. Like one of the, I feel like such an important character of the movie, right?
Yeah.
And he sits down. We start drinking beer, and I have to sit there, keep pinching myself like I'm drinking beer with Ray. Like, want to play catch?
Yeah, right.
And what was interesting was he never did anything after that. He was a one-hit wonder. He never.
Yeah. That was it, right?
So when people talk to him, they talk about the movie and what his role meant. Because like you can psychoanalyze movies all day. Like that was a very, very, for a 5-minute piece of a movie, so powerful. So he says, I've spent 40 years now or whatever talking to people about what that meant to them. And he goes, what's your take? And we talked about it. And I'm like, that's so cool.
That is so cool.
Right?
Yeah, that's crazy.
So there was that. Wow. And then some other cool things, I went to my first rodeo and I got hooked.
Yeah.
And then I almost got killed.
Why?
Later, because I got into rodeoing, and I could talk about that forever, in Wickenburg, Arizona. And I met these really cool people. And Wickenburg is by far, like, if it didn't get 400 degrees in the summer, I'd move there.
Oh, dang, wow.
In the winter, it's perfect.
Yeah.
I was there in the winter, free camping, great town. Everybody's like cowboys, but they're all like 50s cowboys. Like they're
legit.
Very polite, very, like everything.
Yeah.
Cowboy fights in the bars every night.
Yeah, like how you picture it. Yeah.
Anyway, so these people taught me about rodeo, and they taught me about this. So then there was this old couple that were the ranch hands of this ranch up the street. And they said, oh, we got to get up and we got to brand cows tomorrow. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Can I watch? And I'm like, why?
Yeah, why do you want to watch?
They're thinking this is our job. Like,
yeah, they do it all the time.
Yeah,
right? It's nothing.
Like, I'm into like doing things that not many people have done.
Something different. Yeah.
So I went. I actually had helped brand these cows. It was a lot more violent than I expected it to be. It was pretty crazy. So it's not a good day for the cows.
No, I believe it. Yeah, they're probably a little sore. Yeah,
they rope them, right? So in rodeo, there's this thing called team roping, where it's two people on horseback, and they let a calf out. And one gets its head, and then one gets its hind legs. And the whole thing is when you brand a cow, that's what you do. And you get them on the ground. And they're screaming, well, you brand them?
Whew.
And then a guy comes up with a pocket knife and cuts his balls off.
No shit.
And then they let him go. And I'm like, wow, that sucks. And this thing's screaming and yelling, and it's violent. God. Like, and it was but I had a blast, and I branded a bunch of cows, and I did a bunch of stuff.
Excuse me.
Well, then the ranch is like a dude ranch, right?
Okay.
So you can pay money and go be a cowboy for a weekend or a week or whatever.
Yeah.
But they have a big outdoor like concert venue, and they do a one concert a year, and it's like this country music. They call it the festival in the desert, party in the desert, whatever. But it's a weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And it's not huge names, but it's not, every name. But one of the big names was Lainey Wilson, who's now huge, but she wasn't then.
Okay.
And I think she was just becoming famous then. Anyway, long story short, one of the acts was Merle Haggard's sons. So he has a bunch of kids, but he has a son, bookend sons, right? So one's his oldest and one's his youngest.
Yeah.
And the difference is 30 years
Whoa.
between them.
Holy shit.
So the one that's the oldest looks just like him.
Okay.
And the one that's the youngest sounds just like him.
Oh, wow.
So they're a music duo, and they go around the country playing. So I became friends with the guy that owned the ranch and was putting on this show. And I got to meet everybody. Well, not only did I get to meet Noel Haggard, who looks just like his dad.
Yeah.
I fucking got hammered with him and like sitting right because they let me camp on his property, and I had to walk like 200 feet to my camper.
They can't beat
so
that.
I sat there with Merle Haggard's son, Noel, and just drank beer. So that was like
what an experience.
Insane. And then the guy that owned the ranch, we were sitting around the campfire, and he says, we were talking about who would you meet? Like, okay, you met him. I wish I'd met Lainey Wilson, but I didn't. I met Tracy Bird. I met a few of them. And I said, the guy I really want to meet is Ted Nugent. Oh, okay. And the reason is, number one, I love his music. But the thing with Ted Nugent was, when I got out of the military, I was lost, just like most people are. And I was playing in a poker game up in Maine. And I hadn't even left the state yet from getting out. And this guy was light with the pot. Like he had great cards, but he didn't have money.
Yeah.
So he says, hey, what if I put this bow, like my bow? So I won a bow in a poker game.
Nice. Yeah.
And I really didn't know what to do with it. But I said, okay, I'll get some books and I'll figure it out. So I got a book called Blood Trails 101. And it was written by Ted Nugent. And it was literally bow hunting 101.
All right.
This is where you put the arrow. This is the bow. This is the kindergarten
basics.
And I read it. And then half the book was that and half was like really getting into the wilderness and getting one with nature and the spirit of the wild, he calls it. And when I first read it, I was like, this is bullshit.
Yeah, right.
And he's trying to sell books. But then I got out there.
Yeah.
And I walked through the woods for 7 years and never shot a deer because I was doing almost everything else wrong. But I was doing the bow hunting stuff right, but I just never got an opportunity. But I was the reason I didn't care and really didn't try to get more into taking an animal was I was submerged. I was immersed into the spirit of the wild, and it was exactly what I needed, and it was my therapy. Still to this day, I get out into the woods, and it's like going to church.
You're one with nature,
yeah. And so I can't say like it was a cure, but it was really
it helped.
Yeah, and I said, I'd love to meet him just to shake his hand and say, hey, thanks for that.
Yeah,
book.
This had an impact on me. Yeah.
So a bunch of months go by, and I'm in Oklahoma, and a place called Freedom, Oklahoma, which was one of the cooler places I went. Going to a rodeo, and the guy from the ranch calls me up. And he says, "You still want to meet Ted Nugent?"
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
Like, yeah. And he goes, "Well, I know a guy that knows somebody, and I think we can figure it out." He says, "Are you anywhere near Texas?" I said, "I'm right above it." He says, "Can you be in Fredericksburg in like a week?" I said, "Yeah, it's I think 8 hours from here."
Oh, yeah, it's no problem. Yeah.
So they said, okay, I'll set it up.
Oh, my God.
So as soon as I hung up the phone, I was like, shit. What if he's a dick?
Oh, yeah, right. And it's like everything you had to build up for.
Yeah. Like he is a certain mentality. He's no nonsense.
Oh, yeah.
And it's his way or no way and all that. So what if he's a dick? So for the week or whatever it was, the timetable, I'm like, maybe I shouldn't do this and all this. So I go, and I'm nervous as hell. And we're in this back room of this podunk little concert venue. And a bunch of people were there that had paid to meet him. And he walks in and he just takes over a room.
Yeah.
He's Ted effing
personality, right?
Nugent, right? And we get talking, and he, right off the bat, he was cool. He started asking people hey, what are you about? And I'm like, that's not the to me, Ted doesn't give a shit about anybody.
Right.
Ted,
yeah.
right?
But himself. Yeah.
So anyway, he gets to me, and I tell him the story, and he says, he yells at one of his people.
Right.
He says, "Get me a coin." And I'm sitting there, and I didn't even think of it. And he comes over to me.
Yeah.
And I stand up, and I'm brim to brim.
Yeah, staring him right in the eyes.
Right in his eyes. And so do you know what a challenge coin is?
Yes, yep.
So he's got my hand, and I feel the coin in it. So I feel it's a challenge coin. And I'm like, I'm holding the hand of the hand that made some of the greatest rock guitar riffs of all time, right?
Yeah.
And I'm staring into his eyes, and he's telling me how proud he is of my service, and all this and he had like this, giving me this like really raw speech,
right?
But he's like so intense,
in
my eyes, and I'm like, I don't know whether to cry, wet my pants, jizz.
Right, exactly. Yeah,
I don't know what to do.
You're ecstatic. Like, what the?
And he hands me this coin, and that's one of the things I brought.
That's what you brought. Yeah.
So
I thought that was a challenge coin. You put it down.
It's a Ted Nugent.
Do you mind if I?
No, go ahead.
Oh yeah.
It's a Ted Nugent challenge coin. So,
dude, that's crazy.
And then he sat down and pulled out a guitar and jammed, and like it was just a great experience. And then when everybody left, he kind of tugged on me. He says, "Hey, hold on." We talked for another 5 minutes or so.
Wow.
And I'm like, well, he's not a dick.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And it worked out. It worked out so much better.
Yeah.
And like to think, like, do I think he's going to think about this an hour later? No. But to think that I got to tell him and tell the story was cool enough for me. Right. So that was one of the.
And he took the time.
He took the time, and he was a cool guy, and I like that. Because I've met a lot of celebrities, and a lot of them were dicks.
Yeah.
But thank God on this trip I met a bunch of celebrities, and they
worked out.
They
were cool.
I got one of the cooler things I did was I kept bugging. Have you ever watched Ink Master?
Yes.
So Oliver Peck, one of the judges, who's now been canceled. Like if you go on YouTube and bring up
you can't find it.
No, they block him out of the show. You hear his voice, but they won't pan, like they don't show any video of him anymore because he wore blackface. Whatever. But I kept bugging him. I said, I want a tattoo from you. And finally somebody got in touch with me. Can you be in Dallas? And I'm like, yeah. I'm literally in Waco right now.
Yeah. Oh, geez.
So I got 2 tattoos.
I was going to ask, your tattoos.
Wow. Oliver Peck.
Right there, yeah.
So, and he was cool. Again, I was like, what if he's a jerk?
Right.
He's the nicest guy ever.
For the listeners, there'll be photos on American Grown Podcast, Instagram, Facebook, and I'm sure on your social media handles as well. I'll share photos with you as well.
Certainly.
Definitely. But let's take a sip break. We'll pick up with Irreverent Warriors. It's a support network. It's an organization. I looked a little bit into it, but you know a hell of a lot more than I do. So I want to get your take on it. And how did you, again, get involved? And what was your experience like out on the road?
Sure. So the first day I started my last job, a guy came up to me and says, "Hey, I heard you're a veteran." He goes, "Have you ever heard of Irreverent Warriors?" I go, "No." So he sent me to the website, and then he left. And I go on the website, and it's a bunch of guys in silkies slapping each other on the ass.
You're like, what is this?
And I was like, oh, what?
Yeah.
What am I? And am I going to get busted by HR for being on this, thing? And so anyway, he comes back and he talks to me about it, and he says, "Yeah, there's a hike in like a month." So this was 2016, and I went to the hike, and I'm just like, this is incredible. Like, there's something special here. And like I said, I think there was about 300 people there.
That is impressive, yeah, for sure.
And it started in on the beach in Dorchester, right near South Boston. And the route went through Boston and ended up in what's called Faneuil Hall Marketplace in Boston. So it was a lot of in-city marching. So like it was really cool. A lot of exposure, a lot of things. And I met a lot of great people. And we drink beer. We get special permits so we can drink beer. We just have to, it has to be in a koozie or in a cup.
Okay.
So
yeah.
You can drink beer.
That's great.
Walking through the streets of Boston, and it was a fun time, and I made a lot of friends. And I said, I want to be part of this. Like I want to, whatever I can add to this, I'm in.
Yeah.
Like this is cool. And then I think there was another Massachusetts hike, and then I started getting more involved in it and learning more about it. And the mission statement is that they help veterans using camaraderie and humor to improve mental health and prevent veteran suicide. And it's that simple. And what I loved is it's not an organization where you pay money and get a membership card, and that's the extent of it. It's not, you don't join, you show up. That's simple. And I think for a lot of veterans, that's what they need, right?
Yeah, someone to show up, someone to be there. Yeah.
And so then I got hooked, and I did a whole bunch of hikes. And then when I came up with this idea for the trip, I said, what a great platform to be able to promote awareness for them. So it was like multifaceted. Obviously, it was on my social media. It's on my T-shirts. It's on my camper. I put my logo big on the camper, and I put the big logo of the Irreverent Warriors on the camper so people would see it driving down the road in campgrounds. And then Irreverent Warriors have these business cards that you hand out to people on the hikes. Like when they're like, what are you doing?
Yeah, right.
They're looking at you
like, what are you doing?
Stopping and like having a conversation, you just give them a card. In the 2 years plus, I passed out, I think, 2,000
holy
cards. Cow. And who knows the ripple effects of that.
Oh, for sure.
Because I pass them out to everybody, not just veterans. I was just like, hey, if you know a veteran, give it to them. Or you're at Thanksgiving dinner and you whatever, give it to a veteran, whatever.
Starts a conversation.
So I did that. I talked to people in breweries about it. I did that. And then I started having, like I said, I started talking to veterans that I met at some of these hikes, or each state I would go in, I would get on if the state had a hike or multiple hikes, I'd get on the Facebook page and say, hey, I'm coming to town. Anybody want to get a beer or a coffee or chat? So some really cool experiences I had. And I truly believe, like we were talking earlier about fate.
Yes.
Early on in the trip, I let go, let God. Jesus take the wheel, whatever you want to call it.
Right. Yep.
I gave up planning things, and I just let God point me in the right direction. And I would text people and they go, of course that happened.
Yeah.
Of course. Like you've got this dialed in somehow. That all these things are happening. So then I felt so grateful that I was doing all this cool stuff that it made me more want to help people. A couple examples are, I told you that the Irreverent Warriors have this kind of splinter groups, like Irreverent Warriors music.
Okay.
Now, I don't play music. I suck at playing instruments, but I think that's why I enjoy music so much, is because I can't do it. So I appreciate people that can.
Yeah.
So there was a guy that I talked to a lot, and all of a sudden he posts, and he told me he had this Gibson Les Paul guitar, and it's worth a good amount of money.
Yeah.
But that was his therapy, that he was working out his shit by playing music. And he posted a post saying his guitar was for sale. And I messaged him and I said, what are you doing? Dude, that's your therapy.
Right.
And he says, this judge said that I can't get my kids on weekends if I don't get a better apartment.
Oh, Jesus.
And he says, I don't have the money for a down payment. And he says, I'll be good going forward. I'll be able to pay the monthly, but I don't have the down payment security deposit. So I said, there's nothing else you can do? Like, whatever, you got to sell your guitar?
Yeah.
He says, that's
probably his most valued possession, it's a part of him. Yeah.
So I said, all right, I'll buy it.
No shit.
You don't play the guitar. I said, I'm thinking of learning.
Wow. Yeah.
And he says, good. Well, good. It will go to somebody, that I know.
He knows. Yeah.
So I said, I go, how much do you need? And I knew he was being humble. He says, I'm selling it for $1,000.
Yeah.
And I knew that was like stupid low.
That's low for sure.
And I said, God, thank God, like somebody would buy this and turn it in a day and make probably $6,000 or $7,000. But he needed the money quick. So I Venmo him. He wanted $1,000. I Venmoed him $2,000.
Yeah.
Because I knew he was being humble. Like I knew he wasn't.
Right.
I go, dude, I want you to go all in on this or not do anything.
Yeah.
Do it so you're doing it right. So I Venmo him the money, and he says, He says, okay, where do I ship it? I said, well, I'll pick it up. I don't know. I'm not going to say where he lives, but like,
yeah,
I'll be there eventually on this trip. I'll pick it up. Just keep it good for me.
Oh, right. So he's already got the $2,000 and he's got your guitar. Yeah.
So every couple of weeks, he's like, when are you going to pick it? I go, sometime. And that was 2 years ago. I have no intention of
Dude, that's awesome.
I never had an intention of.
You never did?
No, because why am I going to take away his therapy thing? Like, I just knew the guy needed to get it, do something to be able to see his kids. Like, that's a tough. He was going to sell his prized possession.
Right.
Like, his kids mean more, which.
For sure.
I know a lot of people that maybe that wouldn't be the case. So I love this guy for doing that.
Wow.
And every once in a while I talk to him. I say, I'll get around to getting it.
Yeah, yeah.
I think by now he knows.
He knows. Right, yeah.
Right. So there was that instance that I feel, again, it got put in front of me. And I was able to step up and do it. And then another case where a guy was asking for money. He was in Florida going to get these treatments at a VA center in Florida. Okay. He had a traumatic brain injury from, I don't know if Afghanistan or Iraq, but and this VA in Florida was the only place doing this treatment, and he was having to stay in a hotel while he was getting the treatments.
Yeah, not cheap.
No.
Yeah.
And so he was like, "Hey, could anybody help me out? I need 3 more nights in a hotel." So I got in touch with him, and I said, "Yeah." And I didn't realize how hard it would be. You can't just call a hotel and say, "Here's my credit card. Some other dude's gonna come."
No.
Yeah. You have to file paperwork. Like, you have to fill out all this paperwork.
Oh, jeez.
And the funny story behind it. So I had vetted him out. Like, I didn't just
right,
because I didn't know this guy.
Okay.
So I had contacted some people and found out the guy was up and up. So I spent half a day figuring out this paperwork and sending it back and all this.
Right.
Ridiculous. And he calls me up later. He says, I can't stay here.
No.
And I'm like, dude, what? He says, nah. Like, because I was trying to do it cheap. Not because I wanted to save money, but I didn't want, I don't know. But it wasn't the Four Seasons, but it wasn't Motel 6.
Right. Yeah, in between, right.
But he says, and I go, in the back of my mind, I'm like, are you really, like, not going to take this hotel because it's not, because he was staying in a pretty expensive one. He says, no, dude, because I got some severe lung damage, and this place is very, very musty, and like has mold, and like I could die. Like, I can't do it.
It'll affect him for sure. His health, yeah.
So I couldn't get a refund, so I had to get another hotel.
Jeez.
So then that hotel says he had a service dog. Won't take dogs.
Oh, my God.
So I called the place and I said, I'm going to sue you.
Yeah.
I said, you have to take
service dog. Yeah, you got to. You can go on planes with service dogs.
Yeah. So finally they gave in. So I got this guy at his hotel room.
Yeah.
And he got the treatment he needed, and he texts me all the time.
Yeah.
Saying, dude, he just started his own business.
That's great.
And he's off and running. He lives with his sister, and he's getting his shit together. Like, I'm going to go to my grave knowing, like, hey, I gave this guy a leg up.
Yeah, you had some pretty big impact.
Yeah, and I'm not saying any of this to like, none of this is to make me look better. I'm just, hopefully by me telling these stories, people will be inspired, and realize that for every dollar I gave, like, the joy and the reward and the happiness that I have, it can't be, and then
money can't.
No, and then I swear, like, after each of these times was when some of these great things happened. Yeah. It was nuts. So then the big one, though, like the one that I'll hang my hat on for this trip was I was in a town for a hike. Now, these hikes kick my ass because I'm old, and there's a pre-party the night before.
Oh, well,
and it's all post 9/11 people.
Yeah.
Right? So they're young.
They're young, right? You're setting up to fail right there.
We party till 2, 3 in the morning, and then the hike starts at 8.
Okay. Oh, geez, Bob.
So we do that, and then we do the hike, 9 miles, which is, for a guy like me, is a lot. It's not
that's a hike. Yeah. I'm with you.
And I'm drinking a few beers during that, and then there's an after party. So come Sunday, I'm toast.
Right. Yeah.
I got ice packs on my knees. I'm
right.
So I'm in this town, and it's Sunday, and I had a lot of things to see, and a lot of things to do. And one of them was a brunch place that was famous for their Bloody Marys. Like they like whole chickens on the top of these things, and hamburgers, and they were just crazy, gimmicky.
Yeah.
It was, I wanted to go. So then I had a bunch of things, and I was going to end up at this brewery later that night. And I'm not saying the town because I don't want to, like, this guy kind of swore me to secrecy, which I understand. It's his thing. So anyway, the server at brunch, I get talking to her, and she says, well, you better go to this one place first because they're closing early tonight because I got a private event. So I switched all my plans around. I ended up at the brewery right at closing time. And there's nobody in there except one guy way down the end of the bar and the bartender. And I'm spent. I am cranky. I want my bed, and that's it. But I really wanted to go to this brewery because it was a pretty special one on my list. So I'm sitting there, and I'm wearing this shirt. I would wear this shirt in all the breweries. And I'm like, please, God, don't let this guy down at the end of the bar talk to me. Yeah. I never felt that way. I'm the guy always talking to other people.
You were just in a mood from his long day. And you're spent, right.
And sure enough, the guy, hey, that's a nice shirt. Fuck.
But that's the whole point, right?
It was. Yeah, and I couldn't be mad in it.
Right.
So, anyway.
But yeah.
So he's just hammered. And he comes down. He's a younger guy. He comes down and he sits next to me. And he was one of those annoying drunk guys that was all over, didn't know his personal space.
Hanging on you. I can picture it. Yeah.
Like, oh, God. Right. So he asked me about the shirt. I tell him about what I'm doing. He asked me about Irreverent Warriors. And I tell him, and his whole demeanor changed. And he starts bawling. I'm like, holy shit. What's going on now? And he says, is it for all veterans? I don't know what you're talking about. I know you're a veteran or not a veteran.
Right.
And again, he's bawling uncontrollably. He goes, what about veterans in trouble? And I said, it's especially for veterans in trouble.
Yeah.
Why, what's going on? And he explains to me, he says, I'm on the run. I'm from Indianapolis.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm making up a town. And he says, I'm here hiding because my girlfriend moved in with me, and then I realized she just wanted the apartment, and she called the cops on me.
What?
And made up a bullshit story. But it's a story that I've heard 100 times.
Yeah.
Girlfriend calls the cops. He's a veteran. He's scary. He's got anger issues. He's got PTSD, and he owns guns. So he took off and ended up where I was. And he says, I'm staying in the local veterans shelter. Well, that threw up a red flag because you have to be sober. You can't be drunk. You can't even have alcohol in your breath to get into most of the veterans shelters.
So is he lying? Or
no. So the red flag was he's not intending. I go, so what? How are you getting in there tonight?
Yeah.
And he says, I'm not. He says, I'm here to get drunk enough to kill myself.
Whoa.
And the bartender, I don't mean to laugh, but the bartender's like, I'll be in the back.
She's like, yeah,
he goes,
you need your time. Yeah.
I'm going to lock the door. Just don't let anybody in, but you guys stay as long as you want.
Wow. Good for her. Yeah.
It was a guy.
Or for him, yeah. Sorry, yeah.
So I just talked to him, and we talked it out, and I said, okay, listen, I'm not from here, but I know people here now. Let me contact them, and let's see what we can do. And through that network, right, through the Irreverent Warrior network, we got some people come down. One guy let him stay in his house that night. Another guy drove him back to where he was in trouble. And then I knew a lawyer back in that state that I just happened to meet on this trip. Wow. And I called him up and I said, hey, this guy, can you help me? you really can't be alone.
Yeah.
Like, can we walk him through and make sure he's okay? And I said, well, whatever you need money-wise, I'll do it. Of course, I'll do it for free. So he stayed at the guy's house. The other guy drove him back to his home state. Met my buddy, my friend. They brought him to the police station, and there was no charges. The cops had shown up and said, there's no crime. Okay, you're scared. Leave.
Right. Yeah, right.
He's not here.
Get out of the situation.
Get out.
Yeah.
And so there's nothing. So then he moved to another state in with family and texted me once a week for the longest time.
Yeah.
Saying, dude, I'm alive because
of you.
Because of me. And not, again, like fate. God. Yeah. I was supposed to be in that brewery 4 hours prior.
Yeah.
But
you showed up
a private
at
event.
Exact moment. Yeah. Private event, right.
And it happened. And so every dime I've spent on that trip, which was a lot, every shitty moment, every scared moment, everything was, to me, was all worth it
because
to be there for that one guy.
Yeah.
And there was a lot more that, there was more things that I helped. I feel like I sent ripples out.
Yes. For sure.
Making awareness. But that alone, to me, is the crowning jewel of that trip. And, this guy's got help. And every once in a while I see him pop up on the Facebook page of Irreverent Warriors.
That's great. Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? He's involved now.
Good.
So, that was just really cool.
That is. I mean, when you Venmo'd the $2,000, never went to get the guitar, you'll get it one day, right? And then paid for the hotel rooms twice, helped that gentleman so he could get, what he needed done. I'm like, how are you going to beat this? But you literally, I mean, he was there to drink, like you said, and end his life that night.
Yeah. And he was just stalling. I'm sure it was just going to be at closing time, right? So that, to me, like, God just put me in that place.
Oh, for sure.
And like every day when I would get in my truck, I would say a prayer saying, hey, keep me safe. Have me have fun.
Yeah.
Learn something. I always want to learn something every day. Have me learn something. And if I can help somebody, put them in my path. And I helped a lot of people with, I carried a gas can for my own purpose in the back of my pickup.
Yep.
Because I didn't know half this country.
Be prepared, right? Be prepared.
I didn't want to run out of gas in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And I, probably 30 or 40 times, I don't know. Somebody pulled over the side of the road out of gas. I pull up and give them 4 gallons of gas, and they'd be all set. So, like, just little things like that were really cool. And then people helped me. There was a lot. I told you early on, I didn't know how to hook up a camera. I didn't know how to do this. A lot of these things, and people helped me.
Yeah.
So, it was, the biggest one was not too, well, I guess far from here, but near where Pittsburgh and West Virginia and Ohio all kind of like meet. I was about to go over this bridge, and the guy in front of me is like beeping and pointing. And it ends up that the bridge.
Clearance.
Yeah, there was no sign, but then I looked, and I was like, oh, shit, this looks
would
pretty.
have taken the whole top off, right?
Yeah, and so I did a U-turn and got out of there. So people were looking out for me, too.
Yeah.
And I had lots of scary moments, but I think going through them, like I overcame a lot of fears. I'm terrified of heights.
Really?
But I did a whole bunch of height things that I don't know if I ever would have done, like, except being on that trip put me in a mindset to, like, just do it.
Do it, yeah. I had a gentleman on the podcast. It'll be the episode before yours, and he said you just got to hit the fuck it button.
Yeah.
Just let's go. Let's just do it.
Yeah. I mean, you got to think a little bit, but then it's over a lot of times before you even know it, right? You do it, and you're like, oh, that wasn't that bad. The heights thing, though, like, really, because I went to the Grand Canyon. I went out on that, like, skywalk.
Oh,
which is nuts. I went up some pretty crazy trails in Zion National Park in Utah. It's all over the place. It's just crazy with some of the stuff I did. And then when you're by yourself, there's a lot of things that appear scary.
Yeah.
Because you're alone and you're in a weird
environment
is dark. A real funny story was I was in Dodge City, Kansas, and I had met a guy that reminded me a lot of when I heard the podcast with Damien.
Yeah.
Reminded me a lot of him. He opened a coffee shop in Dodge City, and for the purpose of having a place where people could come and gather and worship.
Wow, really?
Yeah, and the coffee is like kind of the side thing, and it's a business for him, but it's for that. Well, he was telling me, he says, Dodge City looks like it's so wholesome. Like they do these frontier days where they bring longhorn steers through the center of town, and
jeez,
like it's crazy.
Yeah,
but it's the old Wild West. He says, well, what made this a perfect cow town was the crossroads, right? Like you could get anywhere from here. Well, now the Mexican drug cartels are using them.
Oh, jeez.
He says, so don't, be careful.
And you had no real idea, obviously, right? Yeah.
So that night, after he tells me this, I'm camping on this free campground.
I was going to say, real quick, are you carrying? Or I guess you can't, right? Because you're going through all the states.
Yeah. No, I can't carry.
Oh, shit.
So it's pitch black. Like I'm next to this pond.
Yeah.
And I'd been there a few days and never seen a soul. So like 1 a.m, I get woken up by headlights and the car.
Oh.
But it's coming in.
Yeah.
And both doors open and close, and 2 guys start talking to each other in Spanish.
Oh, great.
So I start freaking out.
Oh, heck yeah.
And then the trunk opens.
What are they getting out of the trunk?
They're throwing a body in this pond.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
Right. Oh, yeah,
right?
Makes sense. Right.
And I'm going crazy. I'm like, there's nobody for miles.
Yeah.
So they're going to get rid of the only possible witness. They're going to come over and shoot me up.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, so I remember I sat there with a flashlight off in one hand.
Yeah.
And a can of bear spray, bear mix in the other.
Oh, damn.
Getting ready.
Yeah.
And then I'm like crouched down behind my stove in case they just shoot. Like,
right.
I'm thinking all sorts of crazy things.
Yeah.
So I wake up hours later with the can of bear spray in my hand and the flashlight, right?
Yeah.
And the sun's up. And I kind of peek out my door. And there's this, Spanish speaking family, little kids running around. They just set up their tent in the middle of the night.
Really?
Yeah.
That's all it was.
That's all it was.
Oh,
but you make up
Yeah.
crazy stories in your head.
Why would they be out at that time? Holy shit.
I don't know. They just pulled in and set up a tent. And I'd never heard, the kids were asleep, right? I guess,
yeah, right.
Because I didn't hear kids.
Yeah.
I just heard two guys talking to each other in Spanish. And if that guy hadn't told me that story that day, I wouldn't have thought twice. But he put it in my head.
Yeah.
And maybe
funny.
Freak out. And, there was a few other times where I was out in the middle of nowhere where I'm like, this isn't good.
Wow. Yeah, for sure. I just want to shout out to, again, since we mentioned him, Damian Vargas. That's episode 50 for all the listeners. And if you're new to the American Grown Podcast, appreciate it. Highly recommend, listen to all the episodes because everyone has a story. But I wanted to talk about how Irreverent Warriors, how can people support and donate? And then the hikes, are they just for veterans and service members? Is it open to everybody?
They're just open to veterans.
Okay.
Or current military. But if you want to get involved with the hikes,
yes,
we take civilian volunteers that you don't have to be military or a veteran.
Okay.
So the volunteers are all support. Like we do a lunch, so they put the lunch out at the whatever the location is. We have pickup trucks or cars that kind of go along with the route with waters and Gatorades and snacks.
Yeah.
And the volunteers help with that. The volunteers help if you're medically, if you're a nurse or a doctor or a EMT or fire, whatever. We need, people fall out once in a while or whatever.
Right.
We need that. So you can get involved that way. If you go to irreverentwarriors.com, all of the hikes are there on a map. Like you can, like I said, I think there's about 108 of them now. I know there's one in Gettysburg. I don't know. There's one in Pittsburgh. Other than that, I don't know the other Pennsylvania ones. But you can go in there for the hikes. Also on that website is a donate button that if you want to donate money, you can do that. Or just spread the word. If you find, you're talking with a veteran, mention Irreverent Warriors. Write down the website or something. That word of mouth, I think, is a good,
it's huge,
good way. But yeah, we can always use money because Irreverent Warriors is a nonprofit, and so all the money, everything is donated. So the hikes cost $5 for veterans. So they're not making money doing that. So, and because the Irreverent Warriors doesn't want to make it so that anybody is excluded. Like you can even when there's a way to, when you pay for your hike, to pay for more hikes. So I always buy 3. And so 2 people that can't afford the $5 can go. The hikes used to be 13 miles because everything used to be 22 based on the number 22 because the 22 veterans kill themselves a day. And that's a real number. Like people, one of the big questions I get from people that aren't really familiar with the whole thing is that can't be. That'd be thousands of people. Yeah, it's thousands. Yeah. More people. A year ago, the number of post 9/11 veterans that killed themselves exceeded the number of deaths in the Afghanistan and Iraq wars.
Wow.
So that says a lot, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it is real. So it used to be 13 kilometers. You used to have to carry 13 kilograms of stuff on your back.
Okay.
It worked out to be a 12-pack.
Yeah.
You know, it was really, but then the whole thing was, hey, we need to make it more inclusive. So the hikes are now 6 to 9 miles, and then the pace is the slowest person kind of does the pace.
Okay.
So
that way everyone's together. It's not
everybody's together, and every hike I've been on, there's at least one person in a wheelchair that, you know, if we come to stairs, people pick them up.
Wow.
Or come to big hills, we throw them in the pickup truck or something.
Yeah.
We figure it out. But it's not exclusive. You know, if you're a veteran and you want to go on the hike, we'll make it work. It will happen. You know?
So how can our listeners, you know, not only connect with you, but also Irreverent Warriors? How can they follow along on your journey and connect with them?
So my Instagram is tapping_into_America. And that's really all. I post on my personal Facebook, but that's kind of for my friends and family. But that Instagram is where all my everything lives. So if you want to go, I think I have almost 1,000 posts now from all the cool stuff I did. Like if you want to, even if you're looking, hey, I'm going to this state and I'm looking for a good brewery, there'll be at least 7 per state.
Nice,
right? There that you can look up, and just, you know, go in there and I'm continuing posting. What I'm doing now is I'm in New Jersey, staying at an Airbnb, writing a book about the trip.
Oh, wow.
And it's literally just this is what happened. And the hope is that I put the book out and it inspires people to.
I'd love to have you back on.
Stuff.
Yeah. When the book comes out. So that's what I was going to ask. Where'd you come from today to get to the studio, and where are you going from here too?
Yeah. So I'm in it's called Brigantine, New Jersey, which is just 10 minutes south of or north of Atlantic City. And it's a little quiet beach town. And I've got a little cool beach house that I'm writing a book. I'm writing a book. I'm trying to put together a television show. And I wrote the opening scene. I'm doing a screenplay very loosely based on the trip, but totally fiction.
Yeah.
I just came up with this cool idea that it could be cool with, you know, to go around it.
Yeah, I think it'd be awesome.
And so I'm writing that, but it's hard. Like I'm not a writer, so the goal is to get like really basic words on paper, and then let some professional take over and edit. And with the TV show, I'm just putting together a pitch, and I'm gonna leave it at that, just because I don't want anybody stealing the idea.
Yeah,
it's
right,
a cool
for sure.
idea, but anyway, that's what I've got going on.
You got a lot of irons in the fire. I like it.
Yeah, and I'm you know, the good thing is I you know, not to get too deep into my finance. Everything I do, I can do from a laptop, so I'm good.
Yeah,
and I don't know. I'm also thinking I want to get back into the beer, really into the beer industry. My whole idea was I wanted to start my own brewery, but I think now maybe I want to just be in the industry for a while, maybe working for somebody else.
Yeah.
And see what happens.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. Oh no, for sure.
Yeah. And that's what's going on now. I'm loving doing these. This is my second podcast, and I have a few other scheduled, and I'm enjoying the podcast because it's another way to get Irreverent Warriors awareness out there.
Get it out.
To people.
So what was the name of the first one? In case I want to listen.
First,
the podcast you're on.
Taproom Podcast with Mike.
Cool, yeah. Shout out to Mike. Taproom Podcast.
and that was different. That I phoned in.
It wasn't in person.
No, they have an app. you can just phone in. And,
okay.
I don't know.
I really appreciate you coming here.
Oh yeah, no, this is a cool experience.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, what do you think of it?
I love it. No,
in the basement, studio.
Yeah, but it's
works.
Professional. It's fun.
Yeah.
And for me, I've never done one in person. This is a cool.
Yeah, I really appreciate
experience.
it.
Yeah, it was about a 2.5 hour drive. Not bad. And I'm glad I came. This is fun.
Before we close out, is there anything else that you'd like the listeners to know?
Yeah, I just say to veterans, if you're hurting, reach out to somebody. If you're struggling, reach out to somebody. If you're not, get involved. Join a group or show up at a group like Irreverent Warriors. There's others. Another group I've been trying to get involved with is Merging Vets and Players. It's called MVP. It's a bunch of professional sports figures who realize that their struggles after taking the uniform off are very similar to a military person taking their uniform off, that they don't know what else to do.
Yeah, that's their life. That's who they are.
Yeah. So they get together. Tony Gonzalez of the Kansas City Chiefs is one of the guys.
Yeah.
I'm drawing a blank on the guy that started it, but there's a movie called MVP, and it's written by one of the founders, who's probably one of the most amazing guys. You talk about people that inspire, and I'm drawing a blank on his name. But he's a guy that joined the Army and did, I think, 10 years in the Army as a Ranger, gets out, walks on to the Texas football team, University of Texas.
What?
Walks on, which is almost impossible. And they said, well, we don't need anybody like in any skill position, but if you can figure out how to be a long snapper, you might have a spot. So he spent a year becoming a long snapper and got a thing on the position.
Is it I was looking up real quick on the computer. Jay Glazer?
Jay Glazer's one of the founders.
That's one of them? Ah, okay.
But he's not the guy. The guy.
Nate Boyer. Here it is.
Boyer.
Yeah, former Army Green Beret, Nate Boyer. Wow.
So he walks on at Texas, plays so many years.
Yeah.
Then gets drafted. I don't know if he got drafted or was a free agent for the Seattle Seahawks. Plays professional football.
Yeah.
And then he got out, and now he's a producer, actor, director, and he put together this movie called MVP. And it's a fictional story about him, and then a group of people that live in a veterans home and he's a security guard for a professional football player who just retired. And they figure it out, and they do this thing. So the movie is insane. Like, if you're a veteran, or even not a veteran, the movie's great. And it's so great, like, that this is the first movie he ever put together, and Sylvester Stallone produced it.
Wow.
He thought that much of it. That
Rocky.
That he produced it.
Yeah.
So Nate Boyer is I'm sorry, Nate, that I couldn't remember your name, but maybe we can edit that out. I look up highly to Nate. I've never met him, but he was on a podcast with a friend of mine that I met out in LA, and I learned about that program. So anyway, what I say to veterans is get involved. You're important and you matter. Suicide is not the way. Like, it's final. There's so many avenues to get help. There's so many people that love you, and there's so many things that can be done other than that. So my phone number is on my Instagram. If you have questions, if you're hurting, if you're struggling, if you want to just get involved, if you think you can be an asset, just call me. I'm on my cell phone. I'm open to any questions, any help I can be. I'll point you in the right direction.
Perfect. Tim Labbe, Navy vet who served in Desert Storm and Craft Beer Enthusiast. On the American Grown Podcast and the Colortech Creative Solutions Studios, thank you for joining me.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and leave a review. To see photos of today's guests and more content, just search American Grown Podcast on Facebook and Instagram.
If you'd like to be a featured guest on the podcast, please direct message or email Austin at americangrownpod@gmail.com.
This episode was brought to you by these sponsors.
Cleona Coffee Roasters is a small batch coffee roastery and coffee shop. Veteran and first responder owned, community oriented, and roasted fresh to order. Now open inside 911 Rapid Response, Annville PA. Go to CleonaCoffeeRoasters.com to order online, see updated hours, and find where you can buy it close to you.
Triggered 22 LLC, a veteran-owned apparel company. By purchasing a t-shirt, hat, or hoodie from Triggered 22, you're not only supporting a small business, but you're bringing awareness to veteran PTSD and suicide. Please help save the lives of those who fought for our freedoms. Visit triggered22.com now and place your order. Let's help those suffering from invisible wounds.